All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr., Gervonta Tank Davis, and the new undisputed champion in the lightweight division, Devin Haney, and what Floyd Mayweather Jr. had said about a fight between the two of them and whether or not it would ever happen. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We are in the lightweight division talking about two of the best fighters in the world and one of the best fighters ever in Floyd Mayweather Jr., Gervonta Davis, and Devin the Dream Haney. Floyd Mayweather Jr. had spoken about a fight between the two of them, and many people who want to see that fight would not like what he had said, but let's talk about that in this video. Before I do that though, welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so we can be notified of when we release more videos. We do live streams every day, videos every day, so there's always a really good boxing conversation to be had. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, please feel free to hit that like button and leave a comment in the comment section. All right, so let's get into this. This weekend, Devin Haney became a version of the man in the 135-pound division when he beat George Kambosos to become the undisputed champion, lightweight undisputed champion, or the champion in the lightweight division. There's some controversy around there about whether or not he was the first in the four-belt era or whether he was the second or third. Whatever way you want to cut it, he is the undisputed champion now, and that is what matters. The fact of the matter is that there's been a bunch of undisputed champions throughout the history of the lightweight division up until the time they started putting up all these alphabet soup belts. And so, you know, it is what it is. Any way you cut it, what he did was exceptional. And now he is the man in that division in a belt sense. Now, the man in a monetary sense and in a who wants to see you fight type of sense, safe to say is Gervonta Tank Davis, who is the WBA regular champion and who very well may be ordered to fight Devin Haney, provided that the WBA continues to do what it was doing with the consolidation of their belts. So reasonably, it's a lot of people that want to see the fight take place between Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney, because that, at least in my opinion, would prove who the best fighter in that division is. Although, you know, people say stuff about, you know, whether or not, you know, Gervonta Davis has fought top competition and what they think about George Kambosos or Jorge Linares for Devin Haney. I think that it is safe to say that those two guys are the best fighters in that division. The only guy I would say that should be in there mentioned with them is Vasily Lomachenko, and do not sleep on Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko might sneak either one of those guys if he actually gets in the ring with them. Absolutely a top-notch fighter, was overrated for a very long period of time in his career, but you know, it is what it is. I look at him and I know that that's a dangerous fight for anybody in there. However, the two undefeated guys at the top of that division are Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney. So, however, Floyd Mayweather Jr., who is still the promoter of Gervonta Tank Davis, understanding is that Gervonta Davis is re-signing with him, or more than likely has re-signed with him, because when Eddie Hearn was making statements about wanting to sign Gervonta, they sent a letter to him. The Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s Mayweather Promotions sent a cease and desist letter to them saying to stop naming and talking about Gervonta Davis. The only way that they would be able to do that is if they were still under, if he was still under contract. Gervonta Davis himself said that he's still Mayweather Promotions. So more than likely, they went on ahead and re-signed that and signed and sign an extension to it. There hasn't been any official word out of the mouth of Gervonta about it, other than saying still Mayweather Promotions. But regardless, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is still in the picture, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. has spoken about a fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney, and he was very, very clear about that fight is not going to happen. He said that those guys are two different weight classes. Devin Haney is a bigger weight class, is too big for Gervonta Davis. So that fight is never going to happen. And honestly, I would suspect that the way things are laid out right now, that he may be correct about that in more than one way. First of all, there is the question of what Devin Haney has to do moving forward. And moving forward, he has at least 2 more fights under ESPN. With Top Rank, one being a rematch with George Kambosos that George Kambosos says that he's exercising. And if Devin Haney doesn't do that, more than likely George Kambosos is going to take him to court because, hey, that's what they negotiated to do. Now, I personally don't want to see it. A whole lot of other people said there ain't no reason to have a rematch because it was just so one-sided. And the second fight would probably just be the same thing all over again, if not worse. If he stepped up, if Devin stepped up and really pushed him. But so that's one reason that's not going to happen. And then, that was the next fight that he has. After that, Bob Arum is trying to push to get him to fight Vasily Lomachenko after that. And more than likely, that is going to be if George Kambosos can be convinced not to take that fight, not to take the rematch, then I do believe that the Vasily Lomachenko fight would be next. That carries us into the year 2023. And that also carries those 4 belt sanctioning fees, 4 belt sanctioning fees to continue for Devin Haney all the way through those fights. And four sanctioning fees equals 12% of your purse because it is 3% compounded. 3% for the WBA, 3% for the WBO, 3% for the WBC, 3% for the IBF, right? That adds up to a ton of money. So also, this is the first weight class that Devin Haney has fought in at 140, and you can see how he looks in the weigh-ins and how much weight he loses in between, the time that he's training, he looks fully muscled, and when he goes into the fight. So I just don't think, on top of what Floyd said about them being in different weight classes, I don't think naturally in different weight classes, I don't think Devin Haney more than likely is going to be in the weight class long enough for that fight to come to fruition. And if he is in the weight class that long, man, he very well may be drained for that fight. But if the fight did happen, I would tell you, man, that I don't know who would win that fight. You do have Gervonta, who is just an exceptionally skilled fighter with absolutely knock you senseless type of power. But you do have also on Devin Haney, the long, rangy, very, very good, fast hands, good power, not tremendous power, but obviously enough power to keep people's hands at home and keep them from getting reckless. But, Floyd Mayweather Jr. said it before, and that he wouldn't want to make that fight. And, it's unfortunate. But hopefully, soon we'll get to see if Devin Haney winds up fighting Vasily Lomachenko and he's able to get past Vasily Lomachenko and he goes up to 140 pounds. Hopefully we'll get to see the Gary Antoine Russell fight, or maybe a Josh Taylor fight if he stays around there for him, and maybe a Gervonta Davis Lomachenko fight at 135. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.